I sought out the data and the information from the Pulse system, Sean, because I have a deep interest in road safety. I'm on the Transport Committee in the EU Parliament, and I take this particular topic, which comes up regularly before the Transport Committee members, the MEPs, I take it extremely seriously in light of the fact that Ireland is doing particularly badly in terms of arriving or even progressing towards a zero road deaths policy. So unfortunately, the road deaths in Ireland have been rising exponentially. To the extent that in 2025, just last year, Sean, we recorded 190 deaths in Ireland, which was the highest since 2014. So this problem has been going in the wrong direction, upwards, with road deaths over the last 10 years and more. And in recent time, I also got some data from the court system through a freedom of information request. And I can tell you that the amount of potentially to be convicted offenders of drug driving coming before the district courts, in other words, people charged with drug driving offences in our district courts in Ireland nationally over the last 2 years, it has jumped the number of people by 37%. So on the one hand, it's absolutely great for Clare and Tipperary that we're seeing increased mandatory intoxication testing checkpoints on the road carried out by the Garda in that particular Garda division, Clare and Tipperary. But unfortunately, the rest of the country, quite frankly, is experiencing quite the opposite, and they're experiencing a reduction of the roadside checkpoints. And I'm seriously questioning this, and I'm asking the Garda Commissioner and indeed the Minister for Transport. We have a senior minister and a junior minister, but I understand Minister Kenny, Minister for State, is across road safety and responsible for it. And I'm really asking about the deployment of resources and the force by Garda management in relation to this very, very serious pernicious problem, and why we don't see mandatory intoxication testing checkpoints being increased across all Garda divisions.
And just looking at those local figures, so 1,043 checkpoints carried out in the Clare Tipperary division between July and September of last year. That's up, as you say, 10.9%, almost 11% on the same period in 2024. I can't speak for everybody in the area, but I think it might come as a surprise to some people, particularly in this county or indeed certain parts of it, that there has been an increase, given that I don't know if that's the experience on the ground. Do we have any insight into, I suppose, the spread of those checkpoints? Because many people will look at that and they might think that could be parts of Tipperary. It is a very large Garda division.
Yes, it is a very large Garda division. I apologise that the data doesn't tell me the answer to the question that you've posed. It would be very interesting, as you say, to try and match the data from the Pulse system and the results from it with the experience of road users and drivers in the Clare area in particular. But of course, as you said, it's a Garda division that combines with Tipperary. So that's a huge area and we don't get the breakdown. But it's good news for drivers in County Clare and County Tipperary, or that part of the Garda division, because it means that obviously if anybody is intending to break the law or actually breaking the law, that there's a high chance that they'll be detected by one of these mandatory intoxication testing checkpoints. But unfortunately, what we've seen is the worst decrease of checkpoints in my own home county of Carlow, which is contained in the Garda division of Carlow and Kildare, because there's been a reduction of 43.8% of checkpoints. That's 44% of checkpoints. So I don't want the safety of our road users and drivers who are not breaking the law by drug driving or drink driving. I don't want their safety to be put in jeopardy just because of the county that they're driving through or the Garda division in which they're driving. I want to see these checkpoints, these MIT checkpoints, I want to see them being increased throughout the country. I appreciate Garda resources are scarce, but they're being built up steadily. And I do think that prioritisation in terms of the management of resources of An Garda Síochána has to be concentrated on this area of road safety. Because we've seen in recent times the very tragic death of a young teenager on foot of a scrambler bike accident, incident, a fatality. And we've seen action almost immediately, within days and weeks from our government and our elected representatives and so forth, but I'm not seeing the same alacrity and emergency being applied to this pernicious problem. that has gone on for over a decade.
And based on your engagement with constituents right across Ireland South, but particularly in this area, are those concerns reflected? Do people want to see more checkpoints on their roads?
Absolutely. I don't have an interest in this just because I'm on the Transport Committee or just because I used to be a lawyer. I receive a lot of correspondence on a daily basis from constituents, and I'm always delighted to read it and to engage with their issues. And one of the predominantly important issues and frequent issues that comes up is road safety. And we know why, Sean, because there's not any family that hasn't been touched by either a road fatality or a road injury. I mean, it is so commonplace now in all of our counties, not just in Ireland South, but throughout Ireland, that it has taken a toll on families and on communities, and that has repercussions for years to come. But more, and not more importantly, but equally, I suppose, as significant is the cost to the taxpayer in terms of the health system, in terms of the judicial system, in terms of the law and order and the Garda and so forth. So we really need to put a cost on this. There's a huge human cost, obviously, left for the loved ones of the bereaved, but there's also a huge cost on the taxpayer for the exchequer to bear if we don't bring down these numbers of road deaths.